This week on the Comic Madness Variety Hour, we're talking about Metal number 3. We're talking about the Oz Effect Part 3. We're talking about A Lonely Place of Living, Amazing Spider-Man, Ragman, Uncanny Avengers, and all-new Wolverine. All that and more on the Comic Madness Variety Hour. And fair warning, there are going to be plenty of spoilers and foul language. So if you're not into that thing, toughen up.
Hello, and welcome to the newest edition of the Comic Madness Variety Hour. I'm Frank.
I'm Kyle.
And then Troy's also here. He doesn't seem to want to talk.
It's because I butted in front of him.
I know.
We're coming to you live and pre-recorded from the Comic Madness Dungeon. And as always, we're here to give you the hottest takes, the most heated discussion, and most interesting topics all around the comic book world. So we are back to regular form.
Kyle's here.
This week, Kyle's here.
Yay.
Still not married, but he
Wah, wah.
Yeah, we canceled after all that.
Yeah, so sorry, Kyle. But at least you have the podcast.
Due to fan demand, I canceled my wedding.
He's back.
He's back.
Because you demanded it.
So he's back, and we have a number of things to talk about. We have a couple DC books. We got Metal. We have the Oz Effect, and then we have Detective Comics. And then we'll talk a little bit about Legacy.
And how lame it is.
Yeah, more or less. I think how lame it is. Maybe we'll talk about Amazing Spider-Man, and if we have time, maybe all new Wolverine.
You
I
take
think
your
I'm the only one that
lenticulars
read
and
it.
stick
So.
'em.
So yeah, I think we'll talk about the easiest thing first, which would probably be Metal. Which is
Kyle's mama. Step.
And just like that, he was gone.
Yeah. And then there were two.
I could go on about Metal.
Yeah, Metal is, we talked about it before. It's probably the best thing on the shelves right now. I'm really enjoying it. This is one of those ones where I feel like it's nothing crazy is happening, but it's super enjoyable.
Yeah, and there's a lot to chew on. There's a lot of really cool scenes, a lot of really cool concepts, and there's a lot of they're kind of laying down the way that everything works. The reasons behind everything.
It was fine. It was by far the worst issue of the three. The whole if you thought that the Superman thing was gonna work, then you just don't know comics.
Yeah, and it's definitely set up that way, where he's like, "I'm coming for you."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna be the savior
and by the way,
of the DC universe."
Spoilers abound. Unless you haven't listened to our past two podcasts and realized that by now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
And then last week when I was comparing the Gotham Resistance to Game of Thrones, in here they call him Jon Snow Nightwing. Yeah. So they literally just stole Game of Thrones.
It was
unabashed.
I don't know if I would say it's not stealing. It's inspiration.
It's literally we have this one thing that can kill these White Walkers. They have this one thing that can kill these nightmare creatures, which are just fucking White Walkers, but they're Black Walkers. They're black versions of...
Everyone's
those are the regular people.
Oh, whoa, walk it back, Kyle. Walk it back. No, I kid, but when, and he was like, yeah, I sent you the message through the music. I was just like, give me a fucking break.
That was awesome, because that's what layers the title.
Yeah.
Because it's all about multiverses, and multiverses are have always been established as being different by vibration.
Right, but
so
then...
it being about music as well as about literal metal.
And then it's about metal.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they were doing that sweet metal.
And fucking unapologetically, they're like, yeah, first page, the boys are playing a rock concert.
And then the freaking Batman Who Laughs is just knocking back whiskey. He's like, put on the jukebox. And he's like, what do you want to hear, sir? I'll do a jig for you. I'm the Dawnbreaker.
I want to hear the death of fucking Superman, bro. Yeah. No, but the best part about it was the fact that they go to that, what the hell is it, that bar? I don't remember what it's called. And Detective Chimp is there.
Yeah, that was by far the best part. Detective Chimp for life.
That, and they still they're like, hey, we have the egg, the plastic man.
Oh, yeah.
And they just call it the Plastic Man egg.
They called it the plastic egg. And I was like, what is in this egg?
It's Plastic Man, dude.
No, but I think Plastic Man is wrapping around something that's an egg.
Right, because,
Maybe.
see,
Like he's keeping it together.
But he's like
seems like-
bomb shaped, which
Right.
is weird. It's not really an egg.
It seems like he's definitely going to
But
be
he's gotta
a
be.
huge
I mean-
thing because they keep having him come around
Well,
and he's
he's-
not doing anything.
He's the toughest hero ever. He's literally undefeatable according to like his thing. He can't. Nothing about him makes any sense. He rematerialized himself from like a brain cell or something. He's just
So do you think then that Metal might just be a cover and it's not like a Batman story? It's actually just about
Plastic
I
Man.
don't think.
sticking
I
around.
don't think in the end it's going to be it's a Batman story, obviously, because Batman started it.
right.
But in the end, it's just going to bring back the JSA, and they're going to be like, "Oh, we're losing," and then freaking, Dr. Fate's going to open a portal, and like the Sentinel's going to come out and start zapping people, and then like Jay Garrick is going to shoot through and like run around
See,
people.
I
and
feel like the
stuff.
JSA are going to come back in Doomsday Clock because they all have like shit to do with like Dr. Manhattan, and this has nothing to do with that. Like I
But,
think this
see-
is like it's very Batman centric, especially because even though this whole issue really doesn't have Batman in it, the villains are all like shaded versions of Batman. Like the villain itself is like the Bat Demon.
Right.
And I think it's just all about his relationship. Like it's celebrating the DC universe through a Batman prism, where it's like these are Batman's closest friends. These
they've
are
done
his
that a
fears about
million
being
times
friends with these
before.
people.
Yeah.
But not quite like this because they've never had a Batman. Like never had a DC event that was like Batman oriented. Like they've had Green
Tower
Lantern.
of Babel.
That wasn't a Batman. Like,
It was about how Batman
like-
beat the entire JLA.
but like that's not like an event book. Is what I'm saying. Like Blackest Night was an event book, and that was a Green Lantern like centered event book.
Oh, I'll think of something.
See, it's also like super into the DC universe though, because it has
Which is
these
awesome.
super deep cuts that I'm not that I'm saying
Yeah.
like I'm like know all be all of DC history and stuff, but like they go to the bar, which I'm sure is a thing that I just wasn't aware of, and then there's a character called the Nightmaster there.
Who runs the bar?
Who runs the
apparently.
bar
Yeah.
and has obviously some sort of history, but I don't think I've ever even seen or heard of
No,
this
because
character.
his
is.
costume is
before.
also just a blue unitard
Right,
or
yeah.
something.
It has the deepest cuts.
Oh,
and
for
then
sure.
you're supposed to know like that Dream is Carter Hall's nephew,
Right.
so it's all
yeah.
like
Stuff like
I had
that.
to explain that like parts of this book to people that I thought were like the biggest DC heads,
Right.
and they're like, "What about this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's that," and then they're like, "Oh my god, yeah."
Yeah, and they're like,
So
that's like they move to a different city and start a new identity, kind of
they,
embarrassing.
they just
Yeah.
slowly put on their fake mustache. And they're like,
Nah, I dug it a lot. I dug that it was, it's like I said, it's all about Batman without him being in it. So
Right.
it's all like it follows Superman
Yeah.
as he's reacting to everything a week later. Where it's like, how did this in 1 week? How did this happen?
and the cover is so awesome.
That's so fucking.
It's like
good.
a weird '70s metal, like that could be like a Meatloaf album.
This definitely
cover.
looks like
It'd
you.
be so
Yeah,
awesome.
this is like one of those things when you're flipping through for like vinyls. If you're like me and you're a
Yeah.
hipster, and you see something like this, and it's like,
and it's like Instabuy.
yeah,
it's like,
like,
gotta
this
have
is
it.
so cool.
Yeah.
The covers, the alternate covers this week, though, I thought were kind of lame.
See, I didn't even bother looking at them. I know
the John
Deathstroke
Romita
is
Jr.
on
one. Can they get rid of that dumb fucking sword? It's so stupid.
What sword?
Like the sword that kind of looks like a stool, like Deathstroke's new sword.
Oh,
Has like the three prongs on the bottom. I'm like, what would that
Yeah, they
do?
were
You'd
like-
try to spin around, it would just keep hitting you in the wrist, and you'd be like, ow, 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 ow. Like,
Yeah,
if
'cause they
anything,
said it's like the sword and his armor are Prometheum, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
if
Yeah, I
anything,
didn't
you would
know
want
that,
like
yeah.
But it's
the
not
little
nth metal.
Yeah.
the little pins to go up to like catch an incoming.
right, yeah. and then
Right,
So
right.
it's
able
just
to-
so.
I think it's
stupid.
to guard his hands. So if somebody
From
like
what?
somebody whacks at his fingers.
Disarm
So somebody's
them.
like,
Yeah.
they're playing slapsies. He's like, oh gosh, yeah.
Or how about when Steel was? They were like, "Oh, do you think you could take on this machine?" And he's like, "I can take on any machine."
Yeah, that was kind of hard as shit.
I'm Steel.
Yeah, no, but he was like, I'm John fucking
Yeah, I
Henry.
took my name
Ain't
from
no
a
machine
steel
beating me.
driver.
And I was like, oh. There's some serious fan service in there. But then even that page you flip
that's
where
like-
Superman's like, I'm coming, and he's
But
like
that's like,
golden.
but that's
What
that kind
is
of fan
this?
service is what you want from an event. If
Right.
you're not like If there's nothing per issue where you're like, oh, then like it's not an event.
See, when
is
he's
it?
going through too, and he's like you're saying,
It looks like he's trying to like bust out of a weird condom. It's like the first sperm to get to the egg. He's like, I'm gonna fucking do it. And then she's like,
they said
Plan B.
breaking the.
Well, it's cool that they were like the Phantom Zone is like the like permeable like layer between the universes.
I am super psyched that they're going to the Rock of Eternity though.
Yeah, dude. Remember the first issue where like all those eternal like people who live forever? They were like, "We'll shoot the Anti-Monitor at the Rock of Eternity to destroy the dark multiverse."
Yeah,
and it's one of those sentences that are so good that you're just like, "What did I just hear?" Yeah,
mean?
it's just you can't compute how like delicious that sentence was.
And it has all the weird guys in it, like the guys from House of Mystery and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like a Where's Waldo of weird ass DC dudes.
Well, I think that's one of their Dark Matter books that are coming out. Are the it's all about the immortals that have been watching history and.
I only care about the Detective Chimp one.
Oh, I know.
I forget which one that.
But that's not a Dark Matter because the Dark Matter books are all those. It's all the new characters they created after Metal. That so far have nothing to do with Metal at all. Right? Because they mentioned them in like the Forge and the Casting. Like they name dropped a bunch of these like books that are, but they're not anything to do with the story, which I'm actually happy about because I want this to be its own thing. And those books sound fine, but I don't know why they're like selling them as once you're done reading Metal, then you read this.
I'm guessing a marketing thing.
Yeah,
that's the only
for
thing
sure.
I can think of.
All right, next.
All right, what are we going to talk about next?
Let's go Oz Effect because I think that'll be the next easiest one to talk
Oz Effect.
I think as a whole, the story's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Oz Effect is like cool, but I wouldn't say it's anything. I think they tried to make it a lot bigger than it was, and if it came at a time where maybe Metal wasn't around, it would be a bigger deal than it was.
Yeah,
but it seems to me, and even from the pulse of like people that come in and I talk to, like people don't seem to care that much. It just seems almost like. I don't know if it's one of those things where they built it up so people were like, oh, this is it. It's going to be Dr. Manhattan. And then when the reveal it was his father, people were just kind of like, I guess that's fine. Like,
well, a lot of people thought it was going to be
Ozymandias. That's what I mean,
which is like a cool like red herring thing, I guess. I think this is going to be a story you can't judge until you see the whole piece. And I say that because I definitely ragged on that first issue, and then I read the second one, and I was like, oh, I don't
This
hate
one
this at all.
was so bad, though.
No, it wasn't that bad. I will say,
but it is like middle chapter.
Yeah, he's like,
it's a piece of a whole.
I can't convince you, Superman, so let me take your kid and tell him that the world is bad.
I think I'm the opposite.
And it's like, yeah, I get the world is bad. I live it. Not the, we already talked about that.
But to be fair, he's also like manipulating these things to happen. So like, Superman's kind of not wrong. He's like, I don't believe that this is all that this is all doomed, because all these events are happening because Oz is sending some person there to manipulate them into happening.
Right. So at the end of it, there's like a reveal where he's like, "Oh, Jonathan, you can come with me to like the Promised Land."
Oh
where you
yeah,
won't be
yeah.
normal.
And
it almost
Candor,
looks
right?
like. It almost looks like the Legion
of
yeah, the way that the
but it's no
the
recognizable
scene is.
Legion.
Yeah, they're all
characters.
like Legion knockoffs.
Yeah, they're like weird. They have the same kind of color scheme.
But it's kind of like that
like,
Man
she
of
has
Tomorrow
wind,
feel,
she
where
has
it's like,
wings
oh yeah,
and-
the future.
It's like girl Brainiac. But then the other annoying thing is that Superman like disarms this missile and explodes, and he gets like fucking rocked.
Dude,
like,
he always gets rocked with
by a little ass missile, dude.
But he's not hurt.
It's
he's
a
just
chemical weapon.
Superman would like stand up.
What's the title of the comic?
And get hit by like a nuclear bomb.
The
and be
title
like,
of the comic
and be like,
is Action.
"Whew, that
Comics.
was hot,"
So like they're not gonna have him like show a bomb going off and he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm just sitting here in space and be like, oh, he was knocked forward back to Earth, but he's fine because he's Superman.
Yeah, no, that's dumb. And he's in space, so it wouldn't actually explode in space, which also makes no sense. Like it would go into space and it would just without oxygen, they would just be like, it would just fizzle out. All right, I'm done.
You're talking about a
speaking
dude
of-
whose powers come from the sun.
This lenticular cover is amazing. Marvel's lenticular covers so shitty. In fact, that the old man pointed this out to me. the ad on the back of this comic
The old
is
man
better.
is
Yeah.
Is better than all of Marvel's lenticular
Yeah,
covers
Shadow
put
of
together.
War. It's so
it's actually
cool
a really
looking.
cool-
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Go check out Shadow of War if you're into video games because it looks
Or
super
look at the
cool
back
on
of this cover because
lenticular.
Yeah.
it's so fucking rad. Like the Marvel's lenticular covers are so.
So what you should
But
do
I
is
think DC needed years to perfect that though, because weren't like some of their first ones not the
the first
best?
ones weren't good. Yeah, so they've had
They're like, were they the villain ones?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then Marvel
Some
should
were
have been
okay.
like, all right, who do they use? Let's just use that.
Yeah, or how did they fix this problem?
I thought
before
that
it's a
too,
problem
but
now?
I'm imagining it has more to do with the creative aspect of it than the actual like the
That
way
it's,
they
like,
create.
two
But
it.
they
different
don't
pieces of art.
lenticulate.
Well, that's the
thing.
other thing too. But if you
Well, it
look
must-
at the Marvel ones,
It must be because they're like totally different art styles,
Right.
and like
Well, that's the
this
thing.
is the same artist, the
like
same
DC
pose,
knows
there's just,
like you have to
details.
have it almost spot on, and there could be a little movement, or they can be like slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Marvel like didn't do
I'm
But
not-
that.
what
at
about
all.
what about the button one where it turned from the Flash to Batman like perfectly?
Right? Yeah. No, that was.
But
fun.
it's the same like pose and like the like how close they are to the cover
Right.
and like the outline.
The Marvel one, everything
I agree
is
with
just
both of you because that did like lenticulate really well.
Yeah.
But I think it's because they were so similar in image and they're the same artist.
But that was the thing is that they would when they like lenticulated. That's even.
I don't even know if
It
that's
would be.
a word. That's a,
it
if
would,
not. That's a
it
word
would
we made.
completely
Like, fake.
change the image. No matter what angle you hold the Marvel ones at now,
they look like two.
there's
yeah.
two image. You can see, but
There-
one is much
yeah.
fainter, but it's still there no matter
Yeah,
what.
I will say that
There's
they're just,
no way to get it
there's
at
no
the right
solid-
I
angle.
mean, we can
Yeah.
all agree they're just not as good.
No,
They're nowhere near.
they're
as good.
they're
No.
buns.
All right. So moving on, we didn't get to talk about A Lonely Place of Living last time Detective Comics came
Yeah.
out, but that's kind
It
of
was
like
it was in one of the bonus episodes.
No, I don't think. It
no,
actually
we
was
didn't
in
actually
there.
get to talk about it.
It was in. We had so much to talk about that I got pushed off.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Never mind.
which is cool
It's
because
here now.
It's a ghost.
Back from the non-grave. Yeah.
so this story is kind of like Batman's answer to the Oz effect because it's dealing with a lot of the same like now that the questions have been answered, like peeling back the curtain
Right.
to
yeah.
be like, okay, Tim Drake has been in Mr. Oz's lair this whole time, and now that we find out that Mr. Oz is Kal-El's father and that it's actually not his, like that's the subtle like thing they've been talking about is it's Mr. Oz's prison is not his. Dr. Manhattan made that.
Yeah. It seems
Well,
to be
And
definitely.
he used to be a prisoner there.
Right.
And
If
he
you
like,
guys
got out.
read it and really dug deep, you would see that.
Wow. Okay.
This
let's go
Robin
then.
with the guns in this book is
It's
actually
from the Teen Titans.
Is actually Rorschach.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, he's,
Yes.
he's
oh,
like,
who says Herm a lot and then does wild ass shit in comic books?
Huh.
Herm for now. Herm for this. Herm.
but why would he be? Why would he be
Herm,
like?
Herm.
Why would he be like,
like-
Tim? You're
Because
you're
he's
me
an
from the
alternate
past."
reality Rorschach.
No, and-
It's all about being in alternate realities, the entire book.
It's not. I don't think it's Rorschach.
All right, when it's Rorschach, you owe me one tug. You don't have to look.
Wow, that's
one-
you
yeah,
just took
right?
away the worst aspect.
There you go.
Just
Right.
one, yeah. I mean, you have to look.
Yeah.
No, because this is a Tim Drake, the current Red Robin, like of the present, finds that one of the prisoners he's been in this complex with is him from the future.
Him
the-
from an alternate reality. Whoa, an alternate reality where he's Rorschach.
no.
Crazy.
Well, it's from the Jeff Johns Teen Titans book of Titans Tomorrow, and it's the Batman of that book from like years ago, and it's not just like a version where Dr. Manhattan has changed things. Like he remembers things that Tim Drake has been made to forget about, like Connor Kent.
Who says Herm a lot and talks in disjointed sentences?
Stop.
I don't know.
Batman.
I don't know
Yeah.
anybody.
Batman
that-
does do that.
Or maybe Tim Drake from the future that saw some shit that he's not too happy about.
So
with his
so
life.
Herm's
So he says,
Herms all the
maybe,
time.
I don't know, God forbid, but
Yeah,
maybe
until-
your life is
Until
real
like
shitty in
next
the
issue,
future.
and he's like, the end is nigh. Herm.
Oh, yeah, and he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and he stands up on the rooftop, and he's like, and I said no.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
when like you see a panel and he like steps on a dog carcass in a gutter or some
Yeah.
shit.
I totally forgot that Connor is not a
Yeah.
thing currently. So that was like a neat reveal when he was like, "Who's Connor?" And at that time, I was like, "Oh, it's Connor Kent." Like I thought that was just a thing that the characters knew, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is something that people don't know that character.
Like he's not there.
He's not
Yeah.
there anymore." And he was like, "Oh wow,"
And that
I
like
can
blew
find
his
him
mind.
free.
And not only that, but he was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
It's one of those ones too where it is very wordy and there's a lot of dialogue, but the things they're saying I feel like are so cool.
yeah, when
Yeah.
he says like
Oh,
Herm a lot.
yeah.
That's what I want to say. So when he talks, because we were talking about this earlier, that he's like, I have to go kill Batwoman. This whole story was semi-previewed in Batwoman. Like Batwoman issue 6 was a issue that took place in the future.
Oh, okay.
That was like, oh, what if Kate Kane joins the colony as like one of their top troopers, and then you find out that that's not 100% how like it is in the future. Like it alludes to the fact that she joined, something happened, and she's not quite on anybody's side.
Right.
And like Gotham is like totally different now. It's overruled by the Batman. Like the Batman has kind of taken over the law and justice system, and like people are in like fear of him. Like even the Gotham police force are kind of like an ineffective force that guard like a block that Batman's not allowed into because of some truce. And the whole time you're like, oh my god, like Batman went off the rails. And the twist ending is Batman is Tim Drake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this connects to that too.
And it said like,
It's all
coming
connected.
right. Well, it said like coming in like December is like the fall of the Batman. So even this Lonely Place of Living story is kind of setting up this next story after, where whatever drives him to become the Batman who like shoots people with Joe Chill's gun
Right.
is about to happen soon, or it's whatever close to that is about to happen.
Even the idea of that story makes me tired.
No, see, I think the way that DC's been doing things, for me anyway, when it was kind of first pitched and they're like, yeah, this stuff is going to be connected, but kind of not, but it'll be part of the, greater whole, I was a little, like, pessimistic about it, but now I'm really into it because that sounds super interesting to me. All
And it's
these
just
things
one
are,
issue, like,
yeah,
it's-
weaving together.
Yeah.
And they're doing it on a level that I don't feel like has been done before, because comics in general,
And they're done in a way that's a surprise for the reader and not sold to them as a necessity.
Right, like that
I had no
Batwoman
idea
one.
that Batwoman one was going to be like
That's-
something
yeah.
to read for Detective Comics. I
Right.
should have, because it's like the same writer.
But you don't lose really
Yeah.
anything from not reading it. But
Right,
if you do,
they're
it's
not-
a nice little surprise.
Yeah, they're not like, oh, if you don't know what this means, check out Batwoman issue 6. It's just like, oh, remember seeing something about
Right.
this.
That's
Like I
so
know what
cool
they're
to me.
talking about, even though for the reader who hasn't read it, they don't need to know. They're just
Right.
going to be explained it in the next issue.
Which is crazy that they were able to do that, but also make it so that if you're reading Batwoman, you don't really need to read any other title that DC has
Yeah.
to enjoy that book, or any book.
It was just
for
a
that
cool
matter.
Batwoman story.
Right, yeah. And then it works on multiple levels. I'm just amazed that they're able to do all that. They obviously have somebody
Yeah.
putting all the pieces together.
Yeah,
Maybe
Jeff
Johns.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So he's got like a huge board then that's like, oh,
Yeah.
Well,
man,
he's
and
been
this,
doing it
he's like-
since.
Yeah, that was like
Since
how they sold
Rebirth,
Rebirth.
yeah.
Was
He's
going
in
to stop
charge of
writing,
everything.
but he was going to oversee everyone's books and help them.
That's why the books that he used to write were the best ones when he started.
Yeah.
That's why The Flash was the best book.
For
For like the first 12 issues, yeah.
And that's why, so Doomsday Clock, if no one's heard yet, Doomsday Clock in continuity takes place a year after, like, all the books that are going on when the first issue drops. So in November,
Okay.
so let's say November 2017, Doomsday Clock hits. Doomsday Clock number 1 takes place where the books are going to be in November 2018.
They love doing
So
those
like
time
he
jumps.
knows where it's going to be by then. So he's like, this is the end of Rebirth, but it's 12 issues long. So I'm going to tell it over the course of the last year of these books. So by the time you get to the end of, quote, Rebirth,
Right.
like that last story will just about be done being told.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's what you get when you're overseeing a line for,
Right.
3 years and don't have to deal with any of the other like political stuff. I guess you're just focused on story.
Also, it's Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, so it's
It's gonna be one of the best books,
An instant classic.
An instant classic.
for sure.
Oh,
Classic.
Gary
One for the
Frank.
shelves.
especially
Oh.
when they're like, "Oh, the main character is Superman. Cool, let's get the best Superman artist there is."
Yeah,
Right,
cool.
yeah.
So he just looks like Christopher Reeve, and it's so awesome.
yeah,
And the best writer.
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
have-
for sure.
Yeah, period.
maybe collectively the best writer of all time.
That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to get
If you
that
add all of
far,
his, because you
yeah.
got to think like
he's got hit
there's
after
there's
hit
dudes
after
that
hit.
have like clearly he's never written the best book
Right.
because that's Alan Moore, but
He's writing
as
a
a
sequel to the
as
best book.
a collection, I mean
His accomplishments are really up there.
if you wanted to do
If
like
you-
number of issues,
Right.
he's probably number one.
totally,
You know.
and being able to have such success on titles that had no business being so
Well,
successful.
that's his
like
thing.
being
is he
like,
brings-
oh yeah, he's like, I'll take you're poor, you're hungry, but he's like
and I'll turn him into superstars.
right.
Here we go.
Because
Money
like
for everyone.
Booster Gold is cool, but
Yeah.
like he had no business being a really cool book when he wrote it. So
yeah,
his
but see,
successes
that's a bad
are
example because
really high
Brewster
successes.
Gold was written much better by other people, but
No,
same-
but that's the thing, though. You can't. I don't think he's definitely one of those people that I feel like you can't really name a bad run that he's done.
No,
and
for
you
sure.
could very easily
Well,
name
I
off
mean,
amazing
yeah,
runs.
he was written the best Green Lantern story.
Best Flash.
He's
Which,
written the
in my
best Flash
opinion,
story.
the best run of all time
Best
is
run
his
of all
Green
time.
Lantern.
Yeah, I mean, he revitalized that character.
Best long term run.
Yeah,
maybe.
best full run.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dude,
He wrote, what,
Sinestro,
60-something
Core Wars,
issues?
Yeah, he
come
wrote.
on,
He
dude.
wrote like I think close to like 80 something.
Yeah.
He was on it for a
Yeah, that
while,
was-
Yeah.
I mean, and he brought him back from nobody caring.
Yeah.
Like what was it? Green Lantern.
Yeah, Rebirth.
Was
That
it
was the
Rebirth?
very first
Rebirth,
Rebirth
yeah.
of all. Yeah.
And it was so fucking good.
Wow, my mind is blown. I didn't realize
Rebirth
that was
and
called
Rebirth.
Rebirth and Rebirth. Whoa,
Whoa, Jeff Johns!
Oh,
Take me.
man, I totally forgot.
I'm about to get raptured to Jeff Johns' house.
Oh man, Jeff Johns, if you're listening to this, come hit us up. We'll
Yeah,
love
dude,
you.
be a guest on
please
our
do.
Fourth
We
episode.
will buy you beer.
Yeah, we'll buy you beer.
Yeah,
That's
tons of beer.
That's about all we got.
However much
And
you
we
want.
won't ask you to spoil anything, which I'm sure you're tired of. We'll just be like, yo,
I will.
Yeah,
like
will.
tell us cool stories.
yeah.
Tell me when the JSA is coming back, because that's literally all I care about.
Or write a Legion book. I'm fine. With that.
Oh,
That's gotta be
That's the
coming.
thing. That's
Someday,
gonna happen.
I'm sure that's on his list.
It
where
is.
He's like,
That's already
He's like,
confirmed.
even in like 10 years, if I'm like,
I
if
think
I'm
he
done with
really
movies,
wants to. Yeah.
yeah,
But the Legion is.
no.
Nah,
Legion can,
Legion of
but when
Superheroes
he
is
did
so
Legion
cool.
in Superman, that's like
Yeah,
I was like,
that was
oh
really
shit, they're
awesome.
so
Yeah.
cool.
Also,
Right.
Gary Frank.
Also,
That's
Gary
what I'm
Frank.
saying. When they're there, they're a neat idea. I don't think they've ever really.
They
been,
suck.
like- Nah, dude.
They're just written well. It's Jeff. That's what Jeff Johns does. Flash's Rogues Gallery are fucking lame. They are so fucking lame.
But he brought him up.
But Jeff
Yeah,
Johns
and he
made it
made it
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, now
It's
they're
not
cool.
the Legion's cool. It's not the
No,
Flash's
but
Rogues Gallery is
The
cool.
Legion, the idea, and
Yeah, like
there's
Bouncing
characters
Boy?
that are
Yeah,
cool.
he's awesome.
Oh, cool! You picked the worst fucking guy.
Yeah.
that
Saturn
had
Girl,
all-
I'm pretty sure can like.
Karate
That's like,
Kid.
but that's
Yeah.
also being like,
Oh yeah, so number
that's
one.
also being
dude.
like, there's no bad X-Men characters. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but
There's
there-
only
when
bad
there's-
X-Men characters.
Yeah, when there's-
God.
what?
Oh god,
There's good X-Men villains. There is not a cool X-Men
That's a
character.
character though.
dude, Mon-El, he's cool.
Yeah, Magneto.
Yeah, Magneto, the villains. There's not a good X-Man.
Wolverine.
I mean,
Wolverine can eat it.
Damn, dude,
Nah.
Professor X.
Nightcrawler.
All right, you're right. All right, I take it back.
Nightcrawler is cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's
Any
not
character
cool.
Yes,
from, like,
he is so
He's like,
cool.
I love Jesus. Bamf.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a
cool.
cool character.
Yeah, that's a perspective I don't have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't like the X-Men.
Okay, well, that's fine. Teach your own.
Teach their own.
To each their own. Who are
Teach their
wrong?
own.
Teach their own.
Some people are just wrong.
Yeah,
That's
you know
fine.
what? Teach their own.
Yo, you know what?
Teach their own.
Teach their own.
Oh. You know
Teach
what?
their own. Nay.
Teach their own.
You know what? Be safe. All right.
All right, moving on to from DC to Marvel.
So we got to talk about Marvel. We got to talk about Legacy. I feel like we got to give it.
This
its
is what,
due.
week 2?
Week 2 of Legacy.
I'm about to change the name to Wackacy.
It's becoming increasingly apparent to me that this is like almost entirely a marketing gimmick and wasn't like anything, because most of the titles that I've read, there's some like literally Gwenpool is under it, the Legacy line,
But it hasn't changed or...
It hasn't changed at all, and I think it's like issue 13.
Well, it probably
or
helps that
something.
like there's not much to change it from. Like, yeah.
Right.
She's on issue 13, so like, what are they going to get back to the classic issues of
Exactly,
12 issues
yeah,
ago?
remember that classic
yeah,
classic
she
era.
appeared on her
So
first appearance.
I mean, it was cool when they did the Legacy numbering, where it would be like the new number, and then the original number would be like grayed out.
See, that was
Yeah.
a DC thing, I thought.
No, that was a Marvel
they
thing
did
in
that
like
at
the
Marvel.
90s.
Yeah, they did that
Late
with
90s.
Straczynski's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Did that.
So it'd be
Until
like-
it-
I
until
always
it
liked
reached
that.
It'd be like
a
Spider-Man
milestone.
35, but in the grade it'd be like 593.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
They should
Yeah,
always do
it'd be-
that.
Yeah.
But then the Legacy numbering is literally just made up.
Yeah.
Because they'd be like, we're not going to include this 54 issue run because it doesn't equal this weird number that we want to get to. So
Because
it'll be
it
like,
pushes them past those
right,
anniversary
past
issues.
the big numbers.
Yeah.
Which is so lame.
At least, except with Spider-Man, because it actually. Because I mean, I've been following Amazing
But they
Spider-Man.
didn't-
They included everything that like would have been Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
So,
they say it in the
Superior
back, right?
Spider-Man
Yeah.
just replaced Amazing Spider-Man,
Sure,
so that would have
yeah.
been amazing.
Right, yeah, but
And
that
then
makes
Renew Your Vows replaced Spider-Man for Secret Wars for the 5 months. So that makes sense, but other ones totally don't.
they
They're
cut
just
out, like,
we want to do
entire
Thor
runs.
700,
Yeah.
so like I guess this equals.
So if we actually did the math, it would be like currently on like 742.
Right, so let's
Right,
cut out
like,
this like
yeah, let's
45 issue run.
Right.
So in 2 months you get Thor 700.
Yeah.
Death
we
of
did a
Jane
lot.
Foster.
We did a lot of research on
We did a
this,
lot.
and we decided that would have been a mini-series.
And I'll tell you what, they didn't. They put an intern on it, and then they got the intern's report, and they were like, "We don't like this," and removed one
Yeah.
line of it. And they were like, "These
That
numbers
intern
are
was
way
like,
better."
but I was on Wikipedia
Yeah.
for
And then
hours.
the intern, and they're like, we don't need you to come back tomorrow. Yeah, the intern probably did it right, and they were like, we ain't paying you for this.
Yeah.
You're actually on issue 609. It's like, but I
Yeah.
want 600.
Make it happen. And they're like, "We can't change reality." And they're like, "Well, I just changed your reality.
Cosmic
You're
Cube.
fired."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you know what we do here at Marvel?
Yeah.
Captain America was just a Nazi.
What if he really had what if Marvel just has cosmic cubes?
They just have a stockpile of them.
That's why they.
Then we'd be saying a lot of positive things.
That's
right
why.
now.
No, that's why they.
Right?
Everybody that works there, they like flash them at the end. It's like Men in Black.
All right, guys.
Reality, you had a good time here. And then
So
they leave.
if you hear us talking real positive about Marvel next week,
We got Cosmic Cube.
We got Cosmic
They
Cube.
got us.
Yeah, they got us. We're like Marvel all the
Yeah.
way.
Right,
Yeah.
I will talk about a really positive about Marvel. The new Uncanny Avengers book is so much fun.
Okay. Yeah. See, wasn't able to
didn't
read
read
it
it.
because I haven't gotten into that book. In
You
I
were saying
love,
you
long time.
like,
Beast
the-
and Wonder Man. Right?
Yeah, the 90s Avengers with Wonder Man and Beast. As a youngin,
As a youngin,
first book I collected.
so 60 years ago.
So yeah, back when like I had to, read it off a cave wall.
Yeah,
But
you,
it was-
you had to
Off
put
a
down
tablet.
your hooping stick.
Yeah,
To
I
read
had
the
to stop
comic.
playing Kick the Can for a minute to go read it.
Oh, by the way,
It was a lot of fun.
these value stamps in here, just bunk. I just
Yeah,
don't
they're
care.
so bad.
And I'm like,
Dude, old news.
Old news we talked
Old
about in the
news.
last podcast.
Oh,
but
I'm
you can
sorry,
get in
I
your
wasn't
take.
here.
Get in your take. No, it's
No.
okay. You weren't here.
this is
Go
only my
ahead.
second episode, so
The hottest
The
takes.
hottest
The
takes.
hottest
Hottest
week
take.
old takes.
These stale takes.
well, I also
What
just,
about the value stamps?
did you talk about how like I wish the value stamps like made sense for whatever book they're in?
Yeah, we talked
Because
about
So-
like I got
And also
I got
how they're
Amazing
not
Spider-Man.
stamps. Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man's Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel hero. Probably my favorite super book for Marvel. And the stamp in there isn't Spider-Man.
Yeah, who
It's-
is
Y'all
it?
have a little dude
It's
called
probably like-
Zorn.
It's Wolverine.
It's Wolverine.
It's Wolverine.
It's Wolverine.
Yeah.
No, that's
And
not what I want.
Wolverine, whose like mask is just a big H.
Yeah, that's right. H for
Hater.
hero.
Homeboy. 'Cause he's
Starts with
cool.
the same three
That's my
letters.
homeboy, yeah. Yeah, they suck. I don't.
No.
They just suck, dude.
Yeah, some
they're-
books are cool.
they're
I like
terrible.
that. I like the Amazing Spider-Man book.
No, I meant more like the
stamps,
values.
the
Oh, the
stamps,
stamps.
The
the
stamps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
The
put
stamps and the head covers
Yeah,
that
they're
the
just
stamps are based off of.
Garbage.
Yeah. But the Amazing Spider-Man, I'll give my take. Hot take. I don't like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's like a well-known hatred thing of mine.
It's not. You don't like Dan Slott.
So okay,
No,
yeah,
you
here's
don't
the
like
thing.
Spider-Man.
There's like
because you like Superior, which is Dan Slott.
Right, so there's like a little asterisk to it because I can't tell because I've read some of like the classic stories of Spider-Man that I have enjoyed, but Dan Slott has been on the book for so long, like pretty much since I started reading, like 6 or 7 years ago now.
In one way or another.
Yeah, in one way or another, that I've never really been given an opportunity to experience a Spider-Man, or at least Amazing Spider-Man, which is the Spider-Man book.
Right.
Without him. So there are runs that he has done, or rather there's stories that he has done, like Superior, that I really liked. So I can't really say if it's Dan Slott or if it's Spider-Man, because I did like Superior when it was Doc Ock as Spider-Man,
Right.
or if that was
And
just such a cool idea that I was able to overlook. I don't know.
I think
other
that was
one,
just
too.
like a dynamic idea. Like you hadn't seen it
Spider-Verse.
before.
No,
Spider-Verse was
the,
really good.
Spider-Verse was cool.
The one that neither of them wrote, Superior Foes. Superior Foes was so awesome.
That was Nick Spencer.
Nick Spencer before he became
Before
this
he
like
came-
weird
yeah, like-
political Twitter guy.
Yeah.
And
No,
made
I think
Captain
he always
America a Nazi.
was there.
Before he became like an armchair hero.
Yeah. Yeah, he was real good. We'll talk about Nick Spencer real quick. He was real good. Superior Foes. The Fix, which he hasn't done in like 6 months, which is a new image book that he has, and Morning Glories. Didn't he do that?
Yeah, he's doing Morning Glories, and that
And
just
he's-
like that's on a
that's just, like,
hiatus for
Indefinitely.
for
Yeah.
whoever, because he's like, I've got a 100-issue run, and then he got to 50 issues, and like they're starting their new season because it's modeled off like
Yeah.
TV seasons, and
He
haven't
can
seen that
season
book in
these
years. But that was also a book that was not coming out consistently enough, and was a book that had to come out consistently, or you couldn't follow what was
Yeah,
happening.
Yeah,
Don't they-
I
it was
loved
really
tween
heavy.
dramas.
Don't they
Sign
have
me
the
up.
thing in the back where it's like him explaining what is going on?
No,
or
it's some
whatever?
college
Like, yeah.
professor.
Oh,
And
okay.
because yeah, it's like their version of an after show, because
Right.
Morning Glories is a somewhat headier version of Lost, if you could believe.
Morning Bories. Because don't nobody care about that book except Kyle.
Set me.
So,
Hey,
it's
it's
one
my
that
favorite.
I'll be excited to read once it's finished. Never.
Yeah, when it's
Yeah.
I'll never be excited to read it because I won't.
Moving on.
Yes. Next.
you guys want to talk Wolverine? I didn't read it, but
Wolverine was tight. I'm glad Dakin's back. Probably my favorite character that
Flipping
they got
through
rid
them.
of
So,
for
yeah,
no
now,
reason.
did they explain how he's not dead anymore?
No.
Oh shit, who did the
I
art?
they
don't
don't.
really know. I don't know if it's one of
Oh,
those
maybe.
ones like with
I might not have
with
read it.
Craven or whatever, where they're just like
Oh,
people
yeah,
disappear,
Kraven just, like,
where I
shows
up,
thought he was
man.
dead,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
dude, that Craven.
That
though.
Kraven.
That
Yeah,
Kraven.
so excited.
Yeah, because the last time I saw Dakin, he was drowned in a puddle in Uncanny.
Yeah, I think he's-
X-Force.
He died.
I
For
don't-
sure.
Yeah, I just don't know where he came back.
I think so. He came back before Legacy because I had picked this book up because of Legacy. I thought it was a good jumping on point. Spoiler alert: not a good jumping on point. So he's just there, and I don't know if they explain it beforehand. If you guys know, please send
Please
an
send
email,
Kyle your
let
dick
us-
pics.
Yeah, dick pic, and then it'll be like,
then
yeah, it
A
did
small
happen.
Yeah,
explanation of
So,
Dakin.
If you
Correct
send
me.
a dick pic, just make sure your explanation of how Dakin came back is
Or,
attached.
or if it
Yeah,
has a little mohawk like Dakin's,
Yeah.
that's fine too.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Best submissions would be a word balloon coming from the head
From the-
saying how Dakin came back.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
we
I'll be
will
like-
send you a prize.
We will send you a prize, and we'll put it up on the Facebook too. I don't know how Facebook
Kinda,
works.
Yeah.
Can we
Can
put
we
that
do
on?
that? I don't know. I don't have.
It'd have to
Facebook.
be totally blacked out, but imply that it's a dong.
We could do like a pixel thing.
Like one of those wavy arm mans.
Yeah.
Like instead of the
Like,
dick,
dress it
yeah.
up, yeah. So yeah, like Dakin's back, and
Oh jeez. By the end of this,
his
somebody else
arm
is
gets
back.
ripped off in All New Wolverine, and it's just like hanging there, and that's how Laura like finds his arm, and she's like, "Oh, we have to find Dakin."
And it smells
because
like
his arm is
Weapon X.
But the Weapon X stuff is so crazy right now because they have the Weapon X book, an all new Wolverine, and Weapon H, which if you don't know is the Hulk and Wolverine. If they had a child, it's like a monster that they created that was real big.
Hulk and Wolverine had intercourse.
Yeah, they had intercourse.
It was
in
beautiful.
a test tube. Yeah. So there's like all this crazy shit
Lot
going
of
on in
grunting.
that world. Yeah, a lot of grunting.
A lot of bubs.
A lot of bubs. A lot of brews. Driving that beer truck.
He crashed it right into the Hulk's house, and that's how Weapon H happened.
That's probably how you
Da-da-da-da-da,
happened. listener.
Marvel.
Yeah.
That's how our first kid happened. Yay, St. Patty's Day.
So yeah, I wish we could talk more about Legacy, but they just haven't been doing anything that has impressed me.
Iron Fist
Made
is
me wanna
tight,
jump
though.
on. See, I wasn't able to catch that yet. I have it. I should read it. Iron Fist is cool because before Legacy, it was like kind of like just a kung fu movie, which is all I want out of Iron Fist.
Right.
It's just him.
Is he gonna
fighting,
punch a
like-
dude? I'm into it.
Yeah. Is that dude gonna have like ancient Asian secrets?
Ancient
Chinese
yeah.
secrets? Then I'm all in. And he's
Sweet,
like,
dude.
Yeah, right.
Secrets from the Orient.
Secrets for the Orient? Sign me up.
If dude's like, I am master of this,
Yeah.
or plague of this, or, high father of this, I'm like, yes, sign me up.
Definitely.
When that dude was like, plague of rats, or whatever the hell he was, I was just like, this is my new favorite
Yeah,
character,
this is awesome. And he like touches him.
And he's like, oh my fucking arm.
I'm getting all messed up.
And then they start eating people and shit, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. So
was
if you
awesome.
haven't read Iron Fist and you like that review of it, you should pick it up.
Yeah, you should pick up
Yeah, if you like, oh my god, what is this?
Arm.
Iron Fist is
Your book.
tight.
But for real, Iron Fist goes to an island and fights Kung Fu masters. So that sounds like something you'd be into. Pick up that book.
The one doesn't have any arms, and it's
yeah.
super awesome because
It's
Iron.
He fights
And
on
it's
his
like
feet.
kind of fucked up because Iron Fist just whoops his fucking ass, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Shouldn't have fought you. I got no arms." And it's really kind of uncomfortable.
Well, at first he's like, I don't want to fight you. And then
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 'cause
starts,
he has
kicking
no
him in
arms.
And the
head
dude's like,
stuff.
"Fucking fight me!"
2 legs are as good as 2 arms.
Yeah, then the Iron Fist just fucks him up, and you're like, "Whew." Don't know how that went through censors.
Yeah,
but
I don't know how
hey.
you block with your feet, but
Yeah, because Marvel like won't even do anything, but they'll have Iron Fist beat the shit out of a cripple. Like, come on, you know?
Oh, Marvel.
Oh, Marvel.
Oh, Marvel.
But yeah,
Anything else this week we need to talk about?
pile.
Any? Not
Did
particularly.
you look? What was the book? There was Ragman, right? Did you guys read
Ragman.
that? More like Dragman.
It's just a Venom ripoff.
More like a dragged on, man.
More like Venom. More like they saw Venom was doing well and was like, us too. A kind of low point for DC. I thought that was really shitty.
Yeah, Ragman was
Because-
great.
The rags just go on him like a
Because
like
I always thought
Venom
Ragman was
symbiote.
cool, and they've changed his origin. At least that's what I read in the solicitation, and that just like threw me off because I already like who he was. I didn't know that he needed a modern update and for it to be like a soldier discovers an ancient set of
Right.
rags. Like I was like, oh, I like that it's passed down from a family, and he was raised to be the
I
Ragman.
think this is one of those things they were trying to do where they're trying to update it and hope
Oh,
it
cool,
takes
it's
off
Spawn.
more. Yeah, he looks like
just-
Spawn or Venom or one of those
It's
characters
just
now.
Venom.
And there's voices which I don't know if the character had. It's like his old group of mercenaries
Right.
or soldiers or whatever. His like
Yeah, it's
So
like his
it's-
dead
it's
war buddies,
Venom?
and like I thought there was a character like that already.
Yeah, he's named Moon Knight.
Moon
It's
Knight.
Venom and Moon Knight mixed.
yeah.
And
I
then
don't-
they make. And then you get
Well,
Ragman.
it's
And then
one
you
of
get
6, so at
Ragman.
least like DC is like, hey, this is a mini series, whereas Marvel, you'll get to issue 11, it'll be like 12 issues, and you're like, but I like this.
Yeah.
Well, no, it'll
Stealth
be like
canceled.
it'll
Nobody
be like
buys it, but I like this.
ongoing series, and then 2 weeks later it has the of 5 on it.
You get to issue 5, and they're like, to be concluded.
You're like, and you're like, wait, what?
I read a couple indies this week. The Their Business or
The Family Business.
I did not like it.
You didn't like it? Yeah, I read it too.
I just flipped through it right now, and I'm not digging the art.
The story was okay, but the art is just...
it's like makes it, and it's Justin Jordan, who's usually pretty good, and the story is interesting, but the art won't make me pick it up. But speaking of art, indie wise, what's that one? Scales and Scoundrels.
Scales and Scoundrels
has that like European influence art. It's
awesome.
Super cool. Yeah, it's like a D&D-esque story where there's dragons and dungeons and
looting
and looting,
all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of indies that everybody out there should read is Redlands.
Oh,
How good is that book?
No, Redlands is super cool.
So good. Witches, alligator people, vampires, champires, chupacabras, demon children.
They're all in. Some of them are in there so far. Some of them.
Yeah, you know,
if
they're not in there, they're coming.
Mommy.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
He shows up at least twice.
Yeah.
But art's awesome, story's awesome, ideas awesome, covers are awesome.
Yeah, the covers are really cool.
Name is awesome.
It's a good
The way it's going is awesome.
Yeah, especially for Halloween.
A demon chihuahua may or may not be in there. The demon chihuahua may or may not be in there.
Oh,
Chihuahua.
check it out. Oh, yo quiero Taco Bell.
Chihuahua, because he checked ass. Naked dudes, naked women, birds.
I love naked dudes and naked women.
Naked women are in there, plenty. Every issue, and that's
keep getting sacrificed.
Yeah,
it's fucking sweet. Virgins, not virgins. But yes, you guys should all definitely check out Redlands. It is a ton of fun.
All right, well, there's your hot take of the week for Troy.
Hot wreck.
Hot wreck, yeah.
Hot wreck.
I'll hot that wreck.
You just got hot wreck.
Hot wreck.
Pew 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 pew.
Set that up in a 450 because you just got hot wreck.
Do you have any hot wrecks this week?
Let me think. I don't think so.
Did I take Redlands from you?
Yeah, I think you took Redlands from me. Was Postal this week? No, it wasn't this week.
That was last week.
I'm trying to think of stuff that I might have read. Nah, pass.
Any hot wrecks?
We talked about all the stuff I read this week. I didn't get to read a whole lot yet. So my hot wreck's just going to be metal, which is not something you need to be recommended. If you're not reading this, you're lame, bro. You're real lame. You're just out of the loop.
Classic hot wreck.
I don't think there are many people not reading it.
Classic hot wreck. Y'all should read Top 10.
Oh, we're doing that. Classic hot wrecks.
Yeah, what's classic hot wreck you got?
I'm doing Starman, which is I think under the Vertigo imprint from the 90s.
Yeah, good look getting it, jerk.
Yeah, you pretty much can't read it. you can go online
the impossible book.
Buy any version of it in trade.
I think the omnibus is like $200.
Yeah, and even the individual issues. That's probably the easiest way, and even that way is like you have to hunt it down.
Yeah, you're gonna be poor when you're done reading.
Yeah, but that's awesome.
But that book is.
Hopefully they come back with a reprint, but
you should read Top 10 though. You can get them all. Alan Moore, awesome.
Or you can just read what I said.
Yeah, but you should read Top 10. There is a police chief that is just a humanoid dachshund. It's awesome.
But that's cool. Starman is also
Starman.
Cool,
I also
and Top 10 is like okay.
He did it. He did it. He did it.
Not as cool. I mean, it's not as cool as my pick, my hot wreck. But it's okay. Yeah.
Kyle, classic hot wreck.
Well, I can give
you on the
come on, Goose, give it to him.
Goose. I can give you one that I've been thinking about a lot lately, which is Fatale by Ed Brubaker.
Okay.
Do you guys remember that book?
That ain't classic.
But it's years ago. It's classic for comics. It's like over 3 years old. Yeah. No, but that's just one I've been thinking about lately because that was cool because that was like a horror noir.
Yeah.
That was like I don't know, like took place over different decades and like went into different kinds of groups of people. Like I'm thinking about it a lot because they did an arc all about like old Hollywood.
Damn, your review of this book's putting me to sleep. I don't even want to read
Nah,
it.
you're just going to sleep anyway.
Yeah,
You were half asleep when you walked in the door.
I'm old, bro.
No.
No, I agree. That team is really good. Fatale's a really good read.
Yeah, which is weird because like I haven't read a whole lot of all their other like stuff they've done together.
Dude, you should. If you like Fatale,
Yeah, because they did Criminal, right? Yeah,
there's like 5 other
like
series
yeah.
that they did.
And then there's like a.
yeah, or it's like not
My
to get
movies
too,
are lame, dude. Comic books forever.
Not to get like too out of talking about comics, but like as that stuff's going on, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like that kind of shit happens, and
yeah,
like
guys,
and
Harvey Weinstein, he groped me.
Oh no.
you know what's crazy though? I just
you
found
like
out today that like this dude's that I know's cousin got like advanced on by Harvey Weinstein. She's like an actress. She's
So,
been in
like,
a couple
everyone,
movies.
apparently.
Yeah, dude, like everybody.
Yeah, even me.
Yeah,
No,
even
just-
Frank.
yeah, even me.
That's
Well,
why his
if you-
his movie career didn't take off.
That's
He
why I
said
didn't.
no.
I was out.
That's why he
actually-
wasn't in Cats
Yeah.
the musical.
Yeah.
I was out west.
He was
said,
like,
yeah.
"You want to be in Cats?
Yeah.
Show me your pussy."
Yeah, and guess what? I didn't do it, and I packed my bags, came back east.
He put his
then I was
his
never
bindle
able
on
to
his
do it.
shoulder, stuck the thumb out, and
So yeah, and then I just came back here
Now he's
to
back.
sling comics and talk about them. And now I don't talk about my Hollywood life anymore. Maybe another episode. We'll see.
True Crimes. The Junior Case.
All right, but that's gonna do it for us this week. The craziest comic shop is closing its doors for the night for the Comic Madness Variety Hour. I've been Troy.
I've been Frank T. Nelson.
Frank T. Nelson.
2 Frank T. Nelsons. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Check us out next time when we review Batman 33, The Drown #1, Deadpool vs. Old Man Logan, Thor 700, and Realm #1 and 2. In case you guys missed it, the second print of #1's coming out, and you should 100% read it.